All right, now this is where we have the dance music as people, we're all just like, do, 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 do,
Going for
do.
a jog on the treadmill.
Oh yeah, on your treadmill. Yeah, we'll just let people filter in. Hello, everyone, as you're joining us. We're just hanging out, letting everybody join. Super excited that you could join us today. Hopefully, this is going to be a rocking good time. I plan on having a good time.
Oh, it's going to be a blast.
It's going to be a blast.
Oh, Brycey. I see Bryce in here.
Aww.
He's such
yeah, let's say hello to our friends as they come in.
Yeah, Ellen's here. I love that. Stacy, come on.
And Richard.
Richard, those guys already know everything.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can impart some tips and tricks that people don't know.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're at the hour. We'll give it about another 15, 20 seconds and then we'll get started. Yeah. So, all right.
Julie from New Mexico.
I think we're scattered all over the world today. There's a couple of us in Canada and the rest of us scattered all over the United States. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started, you guys, because I am expecting to have a lot of ground today and that's going to be covered. And the folks that I have assembled are an absolute rock star. I think I was thinking about it this morning and I felt like a concert promoter, putting the band together and then putting the concert out there and having everybody just love it. So I'm going to take just a moment and I'll just go left to right here if that's okay. Dawn, let's just have you just say a couple minutes about you and I don't know, fun fact or something just to kind of kick us off.
Okay, well, I always love to talk. So yes, hello, everybody. My name is Dawn Brolin. For those of you who don't know, I'm the founder of Team Brolin, which I just adore and love my team. And not only do I love my own, my accounting team, but I also love my softball team and, really looking forward to an amazing season this, every year I was really looking for an amazing season. So just really excited to be here. And Andrew, who, proposed to me basically at an Intuit event, is my boyfriend. And Dave is, I'm just going to cheat on Andrew with Dave. So, so I think it's going to be a really great time.
Awesome. Thanks, Dawn. Andrew, how about you? Can you top that?
Yeah, well, I definitely did propose to Dawn with a rose, aka a carnation.
Oh.
Almost 6 years ago, the first time I met her, I just hit it off with Dawn, and this is my first time having the opportunity to be on a panel with her. So I'm pretty super excited for that, and this is my first time on a panel with Dave as well, and so I definitely feel like sort of the thorn between two roses. Oh. You can see in my eyes there in that photo, I definitely look tired. That was definitely customer experience 1.0 back then. So I need an updated photo, as I was saying. Hopefully I look a little bit younger, a little bit more energized now.
And thinner. You've lost a ton of weight. So you're like this lean, thin, trim machine now.
And I've quit smoking, which put a few more pounds on there, but I'm definitely trying. I've cut down a lot from when that photo was taken, and that was definitely a few years back.
Well, we'll swap out. So yeah. Lindsay is the person who manages our photos and everything for our webinars. So if you want an updated one, you send it on over. So
give me a couple more weeks because I got to lose this smoking weight that I put on in the last month. So, but I will be back fitter and better than ever because I think 2022 is going to be an amazing year.
It is.
I'm excited to be here. So for those of you who don't know, I have an accounting practice up here in Canada. We started sort of traditionally tax-based and fell in love with the cloud accounting world, have added bookkeeping services into it, and love hanging out with you guys and excited to be on this panel.
Yeah, awesome. And Dave, over to you.
Hey, welcome. I'm very excited to be here from Denver, Colorado, and am the founder of the Kersting Group, which is a concierge consulting firm that has a basis in accounting and bookkeeping as well. We're excited to be participating in this Lucia event and, having the opportunity to work with Andrew and Dawn. Let's do this. Like, I'm ready.
Okay, the band is ready. And there's one more person who's not on the screen. Lindsay, can you come off and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Lindsay. If you know about our YouTube channel, that's probably where you may have seen me. I will be here today to just kind of help with questions and chat with you guys in chat. So thank you all for showing up today.
All right, so we're off and running. So we're actually going to today do, I think of this kind of as a live case study. When we talked about doing this webinar, we thought about who could we bring together that could really share what it's like to lead a client experience 2.0 firm. Well, if you haven't heard that that term before, don't worry, we'll flesh it out as we go along. But we've got a pretty snappy agenda, very, very few slides. I'm just going to use it to sort of anchor the conversation. But we're going to start off by kind of sharing a big secret about accounting that you may or may not have thought about. But it's one of those things that once you see it, you can't unsee it. You just can't unsee it. And then each firm leader here is going to discuss why they felt the need for their change in their firms. And it's interesting, each person is at a different phase of their client experience 2.0 journey. So that's really interesting. I think Dave is on the very mature end of it. He's been doing it for years. Dawn, I'd sort of put you in the middle. Andrew, you're kind of just rolling some of the elements out. So we've got kind of an interesting mix there too. And then we'll talk about how has it changed moving to this model? How has your life changed and your clients' lives and your firm life and all of that? And then we'll talk about some next steps. And throughout the way, I have no idea where this is going to go because I think you guys are going to take it in interesting and fun ways, and we're just going to let it rip. So let's talk about this. Is this kind of like the elephant in the room for everybody?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I like to do what I like to do.
Yeah, and it's not the admin stuff, is it, Dave?
No. Admin is the bane of our existence in accounting firms, and we spend a lot of our time really focused on what are we getting, what are we not getting, that we forget the stuff that we love doing, or we have to work more hours, like Dawn and I don't like doing, to get everything accomplished.
Yeah, what are you guys putting in that bucket of admin? Maybe Dawn, maybe you could kind of riff a little bit on that. What is that stuff that people are having to do where they're not? It's just not fun.
Well, when you like we do tax. I didn't even talk in the beginning that I was actually an accountant, but I am. And but who wants to be that? So, I just found that it was, I'm onboarding clients and I'm trying to find, how am I going to have them securely get me their information the best way? And, 10 years ago versus today, it was very different how we managed that. And I know for myself, it's like communicating with the clients, and we do tax returns. So it's like, okay, I need these tax returns. I need these documents. I need this, I need that. And we got it to the volume of 350 people, various, whether they're businesses or individuals. And that has to be communicated and managed in some capacity. And so 8 years ago, I can say, I was really in a really bad place in the way that I had so much admin work that I was doing. And I'm managing my staff, I'm managing the clients. And I was like, how come I can't get any tax returns done? It's like, because all I'm doing is managing things, people, things, documents, whatever. And it was just, I hired somebody. I was like, I just can't, I'm like looking at the amount of time that I spent on administrative work, which we have a statistic coming up here in a little bit, but I can tell you it's higher than that. And so I hired somebody. So back, 8 to 10 years ago, that's what we did. We hired an administrative person where really it was the 40%. Well, I was at 60. And the reason I know I was at 60 is because I love and use T-sheets. Amen, T-sheets. And so I was tracking my time and I was like, oh, I'm a hero. I work, 14 hours a day and wear that badge of honor that I work 80 hours a week. Like, that's cool. It's extremely not cool. And so my replacement at that time was hiring a person where now we have that person and she's still with me, Mama, who's just a wonderful human being, but she's now only working 20 hours a week. And I'm seeing that drop to probably 10 because we have implemented new systems, and the new system that we implemented was Lisio, right? So that's not a secret, but instead of us hiring it, because she doesn't want to work 40 hours a week. She's semi-retired. Her husband, she lives in Florida, girl likes the beach, but really we didn't want to say, all right, let's hire another person for her, but rather let's give her the tools that she can use to manage these administrative tasks in a more efficient way.
Yeah, Andrew, did you consider at some point hiring someone to actually help so that your higher level people could, could do their work? Like, how does this work? Does this stat ring true for you that's on the screen right now?
Yeah, so let me open up the kimono a little bit and overshare as I'm guilty of doing all the time.
I love it. He's gonna open up the kimono, everybody.
So
he's wearing a suit though, so I don't know what kimono he can open. Yeah.
So in our team, we've got a team of about 20 people. On that team of 20 people, if I include marketing and sales as admin, which absolutely is definitely part of the admin process, anything that's non-accounting, of that 19 or 20 people, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 20 people are admin, effectively non-production related staff. That's a high percentage. And that assumes that my production people only spend their time on production, which is not true in and of itself. The amount of time spent, like this 40% stat is absolutely so true. And I think the other stat that hasn't been hit on is that stat that I'm learning more about the more I get involved with your organization, and this concept of flow and productivity and effectiveness. So like, forget the actual time that we measure. We're like, I spent an hour chasing this client to get this document because I called him, 15 times, over the year at 4 minutes a piece, and that added up to an hour. Like, that's the trackable, measurable stuff. What about that immeasurable time of, okay, I started working on this file. I went through it. I looked at it. I realized that I'm missing a key piece of information. So I set it aside. I asked him for the missing information. I went into another file. He then sends me that missing information that I requested, but I'm in the middle of another file. So I'm not doing that right now. I'll come back to that 3 or 4 days or whenever I can. And now I go back to that file and I'm like starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Right? That inefficiency of not having the information like right away when we get started is like, I don't know how you measure that. You guys are starting to teach me a little bit about the statistics of it, but it's massive in the productivity of our teams and the effectiveness of our organizations. And like you said, is I'm definitely in the infancy stage. I'm throwing a lot of stuff at the wall to figure out what we need to do to change it. Because I inherited a firm, as a lot of people know. Some people on this firm may not know. Because when I first met Don, I'd literally just left my father's practice to start my own practice because I was fed up with the old way of doing it. And then
and he's your dad, so you couldn't fire him. So
I couldn't fire him, so I had to fire myself.
He's your dad, right? So you had to leave.
So I fired myself. I started my own practice, and like that's right when I met you guys. And like that, boom, blew up my world. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy. I'm on the right path. This is the future. And so many of you guys have been helpful with me along my journey to coach me and teach me all the things that I didn't know. And I mean, the amazing thing is like so many people on this call and outside of this call have given me tips and tricks and tools to help me grow my business that I'm still figuring out to this day. And I think it's a constant and never ending journey, right? We're always evolving. We're always learning. We're always growing. And, this community has been a big part of helping me to do that. And right now that journey is squarely focused on how do we create a better experience for our customers, right?
Yeah.
Because we are in the experience economy right now. People know that the things that they value most are their time and the experiences that they get out of life. And people will invest into the experiences that they enjoy. Yeah. But we also come from a world where, many of our clients look as accountants like dentists. It's something that they have to pay for that they don't enjoy doing. Right?
And it shouldn't be that way, actually, should it, Andrew? Which is I'm going to lob it over to Dave, because you literally have just given me, like, Dave, your practice is not like a dentist at all. You've actually become a seamless and an integral part of your client's day. So how was it, does this stat that's showing up, because you don't do tax, but you do everything else, is this stat ringing true for you? And how did you become more of an integral part of your client's day?
Well, it does ring true for me as well. And, you know, when I look at before Liscio and after Liscio or during Liscio, before Liscio, I was working 7 days a week trying to get organized. Like Andrew was saying, is I'm working on this now, but I don't have the data I need. So I got to put it aside, come back to it, hope I don't forget that, hey, I got an email. And what do I do with it? So when I implemented Liscio, I was able to, what I say, save 2 full days a week in just doing stuff, busy work, to make sure that I was ready to pass something to my team member or manage the item. By doing that, that saved me 2 days. So now I have time to actually do what I love doing, which is connecting dots with my clients and with customers and, you know, coworkers and friends out there, you know, to make things really, really happen. So as I said in the beginning, we're a concierge consulting firm first. And what that brings to us is, how do I reduce my stress? How do I reduce my client stress? And what does that include? That includes seamless integration of being able to get a hold of me when they need to get a hold of me. I have clients that are working at 2 o'clock in the morning. They know they can Liscio me and it's going to be taken care of.
But you don't answer. You don't have to answer it. You could choose to, but you don't have to. Like, that's the other thing, is that asynchronous communication, but making sure that everybody gets what they need, I think, is important, right?
Absolutely.
Because we do live in a world where people are working different hours. Yeah.
And it's just really having that ability.
Yeah. So let's take a moment here and let's pop a quick poll, because it's our only poll that we have in this webinar. And we're not giving CP credit, so you can answer this if you want or not want to. But what we wanted to just poll the group is, what is the biggest challenge in the firm right now? So clients not sending documents sometimes, staff not being able to quickly find the documents they need, too many places to look for things, data silos, no one knows everything, or all of the above, or something else. If it's something else, put it in the chat, because we really want to understand, you know, what is going on. So far, looks like we've got the winner of all the above.
Yeah, I can guess what the winner is. I think you gave people an easy out here.
Yeah, what the cool thing is that when you start peeling this onion, I'm hoping that everybody on this call feels a little bit relieved, because they're not alone. Right? Like, there's nothing wrong with you, right? There's actually, like, Lindsay and I, when we were thinking about the taglines for Liscio, and then I didn't really talk about myself at all at the beginning, but many of you know that I came out of Intuit. I was there for many years. And then I joined Liscio because of the interesting problem that they solved that I didn't even realize was a problem. Like, accountants and bookkeepers feel like their communication is just fine. And the interesting thing is, it is. You are communicating clearly, but the way that you're communicating and the way that it's not landing, and that's why, and it's mainly email. Email is the culprit, because no one answers their emails anymore.
It's out of control. I literally Slack Gainer this morning, or a text, or I don't know what I did. And I was just like, I'll tell you what, I literally, and I'm, you know, hate's a really strong word, but I hate email.
No, I hate it too. And if there's a stronger word, I'll use that too, because I detest email.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah. It's become a real albatross, hasn't it? It used to be really fun, but it was like, when it was fun, that was 30 years ago.
Right. When
I just want to let that like,
and jokes and things, and you would spend your time laughing and joking in email. And now it's just this overwhelming pain that never goes away, because as soon as you clear it, it fills back up.
It fills back up. So
it's a bucket with holes in it.
Yeah. So let's talk about, we've touched on this a little bit, and I think what I'm going to do, because we have very few slides in this, and I really want this to be real just conversation. So I'm going to actually stop sharing the slides. But the topic that I want to talk about right now was, what was the impetus for you guys to actually search out a solution, or in Dawn's case, you had to hire somebody. You know, what was the impetus? So I'm going to stop sharing. Andrew, you're on my big screen right now. Let's have you go ahead and tell, like, you're kind of at the beginning of your journey, really. What was the impetus for this, that you felt the need for change?
I think we're at the beginning of rolling out with Liscio, but we're not at the beginning of recognizing that we needed to change. I think recently we heard about Liscio, and we know that communication is one of the things that we struggle with, because our clients have told us. And where they have told us is in negative Google reviews. And we're fortunate now to have turned that around. But when we started, when I came back into the firm 5 or 6 years ago, I came back to a firm with like a 1-star Google review. We are now a 4.5-star Google review with like over 156 reviews. And we have successfully turned that around. It doesn't mean that 100% of those Google reviews are 5 stars, I can guarantee you. And so our clients are very quick to tell us what we're not doing well. And over and over and over again, it's our communication. We have too many people working on the file. I've sent you information that you already have. Why are you asking for it again? So over and over again, it was the same message. And we didn't fall down every time, but when we fell down over the same issues over and over and over again. So we knew communication was not working effectively, and we've tried different things. We went to Slack for a bit. That probably made things worse, not better, unfortunately.
Yeah, Slack is not a good document management system, is it?
You know,
did you try Slack? Oh, sorry, Dawn, did you try Slack for your clients or?
No, it just makes me laugh because, you know, sometimes you think that should be the solution and you're like, yeah, no. I mean, it's good for internal communications. We like it for that purpose, but I can't even, we thought about it. I think we actually even brought on one client that we put into Slack and I was like, I can't do this. This is not, it's too touchy. They're too close to me at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing, I think what's working right now for us is this concept of segregation of communication. I say it all the time, but it's one of the big things, the big wins for us out of Liscio is segregation of communication, which my client communication is here in Liscio. My team communication is here in Teams or Slack, right? My garbage that I don't want to listen to is over here.
That's an email.
Right? Yeah, that's an email. And the more that I can segregate out and separate out of email to help me prioritize, right? Because then I know first thing is manage my team. After I manage my team, I manage my customers. After I manage my customers, I can manage marketing and sales. And because that's usually what's coming in through email now as we segregate out client communication. We still have leads, we have opportunities. But that's like the third most important thing, as opposed to in the past. How did everyone start their day? By going through email.
Yeah. And Dave, was your experience similar when you and I talked a while back and you had just painted this picture of you just felt that you just couldn't keep on top of everything. So was that kind of, was it email or was it things coming at you from all sorts of places, or what was how would you say your issues were?
I think that it was, as Andrew said, just overwhelming amount of information. And as Dawn had mentioned earlier, there's so many different places to get this information. And, you know, so for me, having Liscio come into my world, it reduced my stress. It allowed me to actually go to bed and sleep instead of worrying about, did I get that? Did I respond back? Did I not? Do I have what I need to have to do the work? And ultimately just put me in that zone of peace and understanding that tomorrow's a new day, but it's super organized. I know who I need to talk to in each client and what employee is doing what and, you know, with the client, because it's all there. I can see everything I need to see about that one client in one area, or mix and match or sort by whatever I want to sort it by. It's just, it is a lot of fun. And now I look forward to getting into my Liscio versus, you know, like I think we've all agreed, I just dislike getting into email altogether.
Yeah. So go ahead, Dawn.
Yeah, no, I loved Jim's comment that in the chat there about having that tech stack that works for your firm and however that plays out.
Yeah,
it's so true. And of course, I'm always recommending, and I think we all that are here on the panel are recommending that our clients do. The technology has to integrate. Like you cannot
have to integrate
solutions. And you know, we've gone over this journey over years of technology, and you know, okay, well, I'm going to use this thing, but I got to enter my customer information in 3 spots or 4 spots, and we should never be doing that. And
no, they should sync. If you use the right app for the right purpose, right? But they should be a syncing so that you enter once. Yeah.
And that's so, you know, I just like this comment because it's so true. Like Liscio is a solution for client communications, but the great thing about it is it integrates with other solutions so that there's not this double entry happening.
And you're using it with SmartVault, and you're also using it with Carbon as well, right? So
Yep.
you have the double integration. Are any of you using it with the QuickBooks Online integration yet?
I also do that. Yeah.
And with QBO.
Yep.
Yeah, Dave, you're nodding. Andrew, yet using that yet? No,
not yet. I'm definitely jealous of some of these integrations, because we do most of our stuff in a CRM that is really unique and Infusionsoft. I'm so jealous of the Carbon integration. It's not even funny. But I tell Chris all the time, I'm like, please give me an integration so I can work with my CRM, because that's the one piece that is making me want to go to Carbon to have that. And also Carbon is a pretty cool tool. It's
it's for a little bit for larger firms though, right? So if you have like a smaller firm, but what I'm hearing from you guys loud and clear is that you really needed a better way to, I love Andrew's idea of segregating the communication into the right channel. One of the things that we hear is that people were worried about well, what do I do if I get an email? So we added the way that Chris thinks about these things is he falls very deeply in love with the problem, not with the solution. In fact, we don't ever give our dev people the solution. We tell them about the problem. And so the problem was, well, what if you get an email from someone like, let's say, an insurance broker? Dave, this is probably something that you deal with, because as concierge, you're out getting quotes and things for a lot, right? So what do you do with the email when you get that? Are you using the integration through to Listio and sending it through?
Yes, because you can, it integrates with your email to the point where you can respond back, and it can also go right into Listio at that point. So now the email I'm getting from my insurance carrier on their quote, I can send directly to my client without even leaving, that email inbox at the moment. But it's also going and having that communication. It also works well with, the clients that forget. They're like, oh, we have Listio, I forgot about it. And they send me an email. I want to keep track of that. I want to understand it. And I send it back through Listio for them to get that opportunity.
Yeah, Linda Artisani has this power move for clients who say, oh, I don't need another app, right? And what she does is she says, well, that's fine, because she deals with lawyers. So she says, that's fine. I'll just send you my security waiver. And if you're going to be using an insecure method to communicate with you, we're going to get to security in a minute, because I know security is on everybody's mind. But I'm going to send you my security waiver, and then you take responsibility for anything that happens. And everybody's like, wait, what? I'm not going to sign that. It is a great tip, isn't it? Because you change, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. You change the conversation, you change the tone. So it's a case of the client really needs to understand this is high stakes stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, I think, I love that comment, because at the end of the day, that is exactly right. And those of us, the accounting professionals, need to wrap their brain around that this isn't about convenience for the client at all. I mean, is it? Yes, but it's about the security of the information that they're giving us that we are now responsible for. And listen, one hack, you're out of business, you're done. And the 23 years that I've been in business, I'm not throwing away because somebody doesn't want another app. Here's the deal. I dictate the relationship. You don't dictate the relationship. And I have no problem telling the client that, right? I'm a little bit more aggressive. I know you're probably.
And people love you for it. We all need to learn how to be more like Dawn, I think. Let's just be like Dawn.
Well, it's so true. And I'll give an example. I had a conversation with she's like the controller for the company, and the owner of the company is spending money like a madman, and it's not through the business, it's through, he's just sucking money out of the business, and she's really worked up because he owes a lot of tax money. So those and she's terrified of him. And so I get on the phone with her this morning, and I'm like, Lori, here's the deal, kid. We're going to take the Band-Aid and we're going to rip it off, and I bet we'll get some hairs too. We're going to get some hairs when we rip off that Band-Aid. We got a hairy arm.
It's a hairy man we're going to attack here.
And it off. And I said to her, I said, listen, this isn't our problem. The fact that he owes taxes is his problem. And the fact that he doesn't have the money to pay it is his problem, because he's putting in a pool, wants to buy a beach house. So it's a similar conversation when we're trying to approach our clients to say, hey, we're rolling out a new software. This is what we're doing. And here's why we're doing it. If you don't understand, I have no problem explaining to you why, because a lot of times people want to know why. But at the same time, this is not optional. Like, and if that's not okay with you, I know a ton of accountants who don't do things the way they're supposed to, and I'll send you to them, and then you guys have an insecure relationship. Essentially.
Go and be insecure with someone else. Andrew, did you want to jump in? You were making a comment there.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. And I think I kind of learned this the hard way by rolling it out, by giving it as an option. Big mistake. Learned my lesson there. And the thing is, Lindsay and you guys had told me, no, just make them do it. I'm like, no, okay, we're nice. We'll give everyone a choice. Stupid idea. Stupid idea. For a lot of reasons that you guys will probably learn.
I'm Canadian. I'm laughing because I'm like, yeah, we are. We're too nice. Yeah.
And I'll be sharing more about the story of why that was such a big mistake over the coming year, which we won't get into today. But Dawn, you're absolutely right. And I love Linda's approach, because like what we've done is we've taken the time to, like, when people say, hey, I don't want to use it, I'd rather use email, I then have to get on the phone to have the conversation. And once I do that, they're like, oh, I get it. I'm on board. I get the value. I realize that, hacks are a thing, and the largest source of hacking is coming through email. And there are the level of attacks every day on the news. There's a new article about the level of cyber attacks, and every day the number is bigger. It's insane. Yep.
And the scams are getting so convincing. They're just so convincing. And they all start with clicking a link in an email, pretty much.
And these emails are so sophisticated now.
They're
it's not
so
just a matter of
convincing.
spoofing your email address, which they will do, but they have knowledge about the clients, and they're doing these like whale attacks, and they're doing these phishing attacks that are really, really quite sophisticated and quite effective.
Yeah.
And I want my clients knowing, like, hey, if you ever get an email from me, don't trust it. Just
be suspicious right away. Yeah, go in and see if there's, if it's in Listio. Yeah, because your bank, if you think about your bank, Andrew, your bank will never, they might email you to say, we have something you need to take care of, but what do you have to do? You have to log in to do it. They never ask
Don't
you.
Click on the link in my email. Go to your portal. You know where it is.
You go in. Yeah. So that's such a great thing to, to remind everybody. So we talked about, I think we've kind of covered some of this, but freeing up that time to do more of what you want to do, right? And less of what you don't want to do. Dawn's wooing. Pick her. Okay. So let's pick Dawn. How have you managed to take your practice to the point where, and feel free to share your other parts of your tech stack and everything, but you've really been on this continuous improvement journey for many years, and you've now gotten to the point where, and I want to pick you to tell what the punchline is.
Yeah, so I coach softball, and I remember back in 2011, let me date myself, when I separated from a partnership that I was in, and I left there because, and this is a long time ago, right? Kinda, right?
10 years. Yeah.
And so it's 10 years ago, and I was so frustrated that they couldn't see the vision of remote working.
Oh, yeah.
I had 2 young children. They were 4 and 5 years old, like 5 and 6 years old. And I was like, I want to work from home a couple days a week so that, I can bring them to school, go home, do my work, pick them up, and then, maybe take them to the park after school. That was absolutely unheard of. And no way. You need your butt in the office. And we don't care about your children is essentially what they said without saying it.
Well,
right?
They say you work it out. They'll say we're family friendly, but it's like you work it out.
Which means, you just come to work and work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, that's my working it out. So fast forward, and I left that firm, and I was on a mission to live my life while being a practitioner. And it wasn't until 2019 that I actually took action to do that, right? So I just decided, I had met with that coach, and it was my former teammate, and she said, Brolin, you're a legally insane person. We would like for you to be in our dugout. And I was like, well, I appreciate that compliment. I took it certainly as a compliment.
I want you in a foxhole. If we're ever in a gunfight, I want to be in that foxhole with you for sure.
Girl, it is 100% or zero. We're either dead or we're alive. And
we're all in.
We're having fun no matter what.
It's going to be fun. So I said, yeah, you know what? I'm going to volunteer coach. They didn't have any paid positions, and you know what? Since I don't get paid, I have all the control in the world. I don't have to follow any rules. I can do what I want. So that was my pitch to her. So being, and people, I lost employees over it. I literally lost employees over it. Now, I believe that to be true. They never told me, but I kind of think they didn't have to tell me. Brolin, you leave the office at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, we're here till 7 or 8 o'clock at night and you're out doing coaching. And I'm like, well, because I positioned my life like this. And you know what?
Yeah.
I was willing to lose them for the betterment of my soul and for the betterment of the girls that I'm coaching, that I'm able to mentor them as young women and mentor them for their future. Right. And so, you know, I just taking that time and I said, and since 2019, that's when my life changed, because from 2019 forward, I've not worked 40 hours a week in tax season, but I can tell you what, the distractions that you have, if you can minimize and eliminate distractions, which are what? This thing and the email and the phone that's ringing over here and the person that's walking in your door and the pick up, put down when you don't have everything to prepare a tax return or do write up work or whatever it may be. And I said, that's it. If this fanny is in the seat, if this butt is going to be in this chair, it better be producing money, right? So this chair, there's money that falls out of this chair that I'm sitting in.
Are you pooping money right now, Dawn?
I'm pooping money right now. And so I'm just like, I'm not willing to sacrifice my life. And I mean, my daughter's moving to California. I'm taking 10 days and I'm going with that girl and I'm driving across country because it's a change in her life. Yeah. I'm not missing that. I'm not missing that for any amount of money. But because I'm not sacrificing that money anymore because I'm able to make enough money and my team is able to produce enough money that I can take that 10 days. And you know what? There are things that I know, I'm sure everybody that's on this call have regrets. And I teach these college kids every single day, do not have regrets as much as you can. Don't regret things. And so I would regret not going with her. So
that's what Brad Smith used to call a crystal moment. Do you know the crystal moments and the rubber moments?
Yes.
So a rubber moment might be if your daughter has like a ballet recital and there's going to be 100 of those.
Yep.
That might be a rubber moment. You could let that one drop because you know there's going to be another one. Exactly. But a crystal moment is your daughter's going off for her new life and you want to make sure that she gets delivered properly and a good setup in her new apartment. And you want to be with her on that trip. That's a crystal moment. Yeah. So making sure that you're understanding what those crystal moments and those rubber moments are, and then prioritizing, super important.
Super important. And so, you know, just to close on that, it's like, it's just like my client I was speaking about who owes these taxes. The best thing for him is that I have the solution for him to solve his problem. What all he has to do is make the choice to do it. And that's for practitioners. Life is about choices, period. Yep. And the choices you make affect how things turn out. And you have the ability to make the choice, say, you know what? I'm going to stay in my dart league because some people play darts maybe, or I'm going to, like Stacy, I know Stacy loves to ride her bike. She wants to have the time to ride her bike. Guess what? She gets
Lego. She
wants to Lego. I get that. So we all have those choices, what we want to do. And so once you make the choice that, like I did, I'm going to coach softball. Now, what did I have to do? I had to line up my practice in a way that would allow me not just to go to softball, but be present when I'm there and not be worried in my brain about what's happening in the office.
Yeah.
You can do it, people.
You can do it. Yeah. Dave, do you want to jump in?
Absolutely. I am in so agreement with you, Dawn, on what do we want to do and how do we want to live? And how does what we choose as firm owners doing for our employees, for our contractors, and for our clients? You know, so I choose to live like you, Dawn, where it's happy, healthy, and treating myself as number one. That means so many different things to so many different people. But what excites me is that with Liscio and some of the other tech stacks that I use in my firm, I'm able to do whatever, wherever. I can be at the beach, which is where I'd rather be today, instead of in Denver at 44 degrees. You know, I mean, it's cold here. I'd love to be on the beach doing this call right now. That's the kind of excitement that it brings to me on, you know, again, being happy, healthy, number one. And we get to do that because, again, we have good partnerships with, you know, Allison and Chris and the team of Liscio that understands our problems and helps us find ways to solve our problems that then solve our clients' problems.
Yeah, I love that. Andrew, how do you think about this, doing more of what you love, or how do you think about it for your firm?
I can tell you, I mean, by the sheer fact that I've, lost 75 pounds, and the fact that I had 75 pounds to lose tells you I was not putting myself first. And as Dave said, it is so important. And right now, more than ever, not necessarily because of your physical health, but because of your mental health.
Yeah.
Right? We, as a society, are going through unprecedented times, and people's time, not just yours as the owner, but your entire team are under stress levels like you've never seen ever before.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that the normal response when we get stressed and we get inundated, we put more pressure on ourselves. We put in extra hours because we've been grown up with this like messed up notion that like
work harder, work more.
A badge of honor. It's not a badge of honor. It's the dumbest thing you could ever do. But I remember bragging about, I had a 70-hour work this week. I worked so hard. Like, woohoo, look at me. Aren't you proud? No one's proud of you for that. It just means you're not effective, you're not efficient, and you're not taking time for the things that are those crystal moments, those things that are important for you. And I wasn't taking it, and the person who was suffering the most was me. Okay? My body was physically deteriorating. My mind was physically deteriorating. And as a result, what I was able to produce out of my organization was deteriorating. I can tell you, when I step into a daily stand-up meeting after I've just spent some time Googling like the metaverse that I'm geeking out on right now and was like super excited about. When I come buzzed because I've spent some time like doing whatever it is that interests me, and I come buzzed from that energy, the way that meeting goes versus when I've just come in because I've just spent an hour reviewing the work in process and how many files were behind, and like you know what I mean, like that
very different energy. Very different energy.
Energy. And that energy, when you have a team of people, that energy transmits itself throughout the entire organization. Whatever energy you bring gets multiplied. That's positive energy, it gets multiplied. If it's negative energy, it gets multiplied. If it's blah energy, it gets multiplied. And so the number one thing of getting back more time for me has been like my mental health.
Yeah, the mental health is so incredibly important because, and I think that's a nice lead into this next slide of changing how you work. And one of the things that I heard from all three of you is there needs to be some systems in place that anchor this, and you have to be able to trust your systems. And so maybe let's talk a little bit about when you did shift to giving your clients one place to talk to you, and one place like where, Seth David calls it, where your data is coming in, your documents are coming in all in one place, and it's organized, categorized, and easily found, like easily searchable. What was that? Did you find that effect was like pretty much almost immediate, or did you have to kind of like work into that? Dave, let's start with you because you've been using Listio for the longest amount of time, but you talk about how you work it through with your other apps that you use.
For me, I look at Listio is the app. Everything else I do kind of coordinates and works into what I'm doing with Listio. By making Listio my priority, I think that, as Andrew just talked about, by the energy that I dispel, about Listio, my clients get excited. They see and feel faster responses. Even if, like we said earlier, at that 2 o'clock in the morning, I may not be responding full answer, but if I'm up, I might say, hey, got you, so that they just have that, wow, at 2 o'clock in the morning, what does he do? Does he ever sleep? And it's like, yeah, I do. But I think that they got to see what's going on. They get to see a chain of what's happening. The clients do, my team does.
Well, I do also just want to note that you do some of your best work at 2 a.m. because I've seen it.
Yes.
You guys met, didn't you meet like at 2 a.m. like after a couple of drinks at a conference? Yeah. So we have proof. He is on fire at 2 a.m.
I am on fire. You never know. But I think, again, it's like, how do you overcome some of the obstacles that we've been talking about? And the one thing I always say about myself, I'm a workhorse. Well, like Andrew said, like Don said, that's not a badge of honor. That's just who I am. And I had to learn with Listio and how to prioritize my tasks and what I'm doing. Is that there's this version of tasks that you set for yourself with deadlines that you're never going to do. And then there's this important task and then these important life moments that you want to be involved in. And again, how do we do that? Through having the right tech stack And again, for me, Liscio is the foundation, and how do I work in everything else? So I don't want to add another way for somebody to communicate to me. So what is this other app going to do that Liscio can't do at the moment?
Yeah. And sorry, Dawn, go ahead.
I love what Dave's saying. And Dave, also one of the other things that I found, you know, as your firm grows, because some people who are on the call or, you know, watch this later may be fairly new to the industry. I see a lot of people out on social media starting up their own firm. And so if we can give them like an ounce of hope, one of my biggest pet peeves was my cell phone. My biggest pet peeve was my cell phone, because I didn't want to give my clients my cell phone number, because when I'm not here, I'm like Dave's doing, you can choose to answer somebody in Liscio. So, and I love Dave. I just want to thank you. Liscio me.
Liscio me.
Don't, yes. I get the confusion between the text and the Liscio me when you have a minute. But that was one of the biggest challenges for me was they would text me on my phone and over the weekend, and I'd be 20 people deep, and they're down here. And I said, like Dave says, I got you. Yeah, well, guess what? I'm not scrolling through my text.
You have to remember to put it somewhere else. That's the problem is with cell phones. Okay, first of all, people expect, Dawn, you mentioned this on a previous webinar that we did. People expect an immediate answer on a cell phone. Because they know you've got the phone, right? They're like, okay, so you give them that immediate answer, but then what? You've got to put that somewhere else so you remember. So it's all these extra steps. So what I'm hoping everybody on the call can start thinking about is, what are those extra steps? And then what happens if somebody texts you a document? What do you get then? You get a photo. How do you guys deal with that? And it's fuzzy, and it's off skew, and it's like it's bad. So one of the things that Chris thought about when they were putting together, you know, what is the big problem that Liscio is solving is getting documents on time. So that's one thing. You got to make it easy. Right? And what did the banks do with us? If you think about that, the quietest revolution of the 20th century was when banks moved us to, or I guess it was 21st century. Banks moved, 21st century, because we didn't really have apps, I guess, in the 90s, did we? But we definitely did by the 2000s. They moved us onto these gorgeous apps that we use. And now, would you ever think about going to the bank with a check if you could help it?
Okay, so I had to go to the bank today, and I was.
How did that feel? Like weird, right? You're like, wait, what? I'm in the bank,
and I'm thinking to myself, right? I'm just thinking, okay, boy, do these bankers have it easy. People don't even come in the branch anymore.
They don't even come in.
It's like the life to be it used to be bankers hours, but now I think it's like half banker hours. Like I don't even think they do anything. But it was awful. I had to stand there and fill the form out, and then my glasses with me. I couldn't see the paper. I'm trying to fill. It was because it was for an estate that I volunteered to manage, and I hate myself for it. A friend passed away, and I volunteered like an idiot. Don't do that. Anyway, so, you know, but it was awful. I'm like, this guy wants to get this money because I got to get the headstone. And he's like, I need the check for tomorrow. And I'm like, why can't I use Veeam? Why can't I just Veeam you the money?
Yeah.
And it's like, thank you.
So we experience client experience 2.0 in so many places, but we don't think of it as that way. So for example, the banks, let's just use that example because we're on it. So the banks give us an app that we can do literally everything with, except for occasionally there might be some, you know, estate work or whatever. So there's these little outliers, but you can still go to the bank if you want. Mm-hmm. And you can still have a chat live with the banker if you want to call them. Right. You can still, Julie's putting in, I still go to the bank, drive up. You can still do that. Yeah, you can still do that. But the point is that you're mostly going to do, you know, and when was the last time you called your bank for a statement? So that's the other thing. One thing I want to talk about is how do you guys get documents to your clients? Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. Dave is going, I send it so they get it.
Or he should be going like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The best solution I can imagine out of Liscio was giving my clients the ability to use their phone where they are in their moment, whether they're in the field, at home, at their soccer game, wherever they are, to communicate with me, to give me what I need. Because a lot of my clients are in the field. and they can sign the documents, they can sign a proposal or, you know, an engagement letter. I mean, the excitement that I put into their hands by saying I use Liscio relieved me of stress, because now I know they're at a food truck and it's 12 noon and they're busy. They'll get me when they're finished. And oh, here's the document that I need to scan right now in the food truck at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, they can scan it and send it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then are you guys using Liscio Dispatch at all to send documents like from, like, let's say from, you know, Lacert or QBO, or using Liscio Dispatch?
We are going to be this next tax season.
Yeah.
We're all ready to go.
Yeah, Lindsay, come off mute and tell people what Liscio Dispatch is, because that is a pretty darn sexy little widget.
So Liscio Dispatch actually allows you to print a PDF or a report from any single system that you use. It could be Google Drive or QBO, like you mentioned, directly into Liscio, and you don't have to leave your tax or accounting system to do that. And you can actually also ping your client in one swift motion as well.
Yeah.
And you just, you know, set me up to plug the YouTube channel.
Oh yeah. There's going to be as often as Lindsay, if I give her a chance, she shamelessly plugs the YouTube channel.
So if you do want to check out a little bit more about Liscio Dispatch and kind of see what all it entails, I'm going to put the YouTube channel in.
There you go.
Chat, and then that way you can search Liscio Dispatch and check out any of our videos.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so just lets you shoot it right to the program without that. Like, you've used a share file or a SmartVault in the past.
No more downloading,
uploading, and just eliminating that wasted efficiency.
Yeah. So Dawn, you talked about cloud to cloud the last time we talked. Like, I think that's a big change in how we work too, isn't it? No downloading, no uploading, cloud to cloud, right?
My download folder, the download folder is like email. Like I have these, I've realized that as I've improved my tech stack and really kind of got it together, is exactly what we're doing. We're cloud to cloud. We're not having this, and it's the same thing with tax returns. Pick up, put down, like Andrew was explaining, you know, it's the same exact thing. It's not a physical motion where we're picking up documents. Oh, wait, got to get some more information down, put it down again, go back. And that's so inefficient. It's the same exact thing with the way you're interacting with your technology. Is if you're having to pull it down and put it back up again, you're being inefficient.
Yeah.
So
we're absolutely really being inefficient. Now I was just doing a little time check. We've got about 10 minutes left. So I think we have probably covered, I know we could. It'd be really fun. We should just like hang out. We should just like a hangout every week. The meeting clients where we are, I think where they are is, I think, an important thing to talk about. And do you find that your clients, like Andrew, you'd said you've given the clients a choice. Like, I think when you roll out something like Liscio, you want to make sure that you explain the reasons, but also give them the options of, like, one of the things we were very thoughtful was, okay, iPhone, Android, browser-based as well, and tablet. A little funny fact for you was during the pandemic, we all of a sudden had all these octogenarians and nanogenarians, like people in their 80s and 90s that because we provide tech support for clients, right? You guys know that, right? We will help your clients. And so we all of a sudden had to deal with people who were only using a tablet. So if you guys have tried Liscio on the tablet, the font is huge. It's because a lot of older people have tablets. So the font is just huge, right? And so we did that very thoughtfully. But I think the whole idea is meet the clients where they are, but don't sacrifice your own work. So is that, and how you guys need to work. So do you want to just comment on that, anybody? Or does that sound right?
I think it's almost inherent now. Like, thankfully, because of COVID, it's sort of pushed everyone to being more comfortable with being mobile first. Like now, like you said, the octogenarians, and I don't even know what you call the 90-year-olds, but nanogenarians.
Nano.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they are now on board with using cloud technology. Like those guys who used to, like, I still have one client who physically does a ledger book. He physically does a ledger book. Now, until this year, he used to bring us in that physical ledger book. He's in his 90s. Am I going to ask a 90-year-old to change his process? No. Do you know what that 90-year-old does with his ledger book now? He takes a picture of Liscio.
And he sends it to you. Oh, I love it.
No,
bless
same
him.
ledger book.
Bless
same
him.
ledger book.
But you're getting it on a
He
PDF.
figured out how to take a picture of it, and he doesn't need to come into our office and
you're
drop
getting
it
a PDF. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. I think you've actually kind of covered like, you know, like what actually happens when you do move to a client experience 2.0 model. I don't know. Have you guys found, we've already obviously talked about quality of life. We've talked about clients getting convenience. Has there been any profitability increases for you guys? Like, have you found, Dave, you're nodding, or Dawn?
Substantial. Substantially increase your profits because you have more time to do what you love. And what I love is helping clients do what they need to do, whether that be in accounting, find an insurance company, help with their workman's comp audit. I want to help them, and getting rid of all that admin stuff helps me really focus on what I value in myself and what my firm does. And so absolutely.
And you charge for that.
Yes.
Yeah. And Dawn, what about you? If you were nodding, are you?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, just really at the end of the day, if I'm, so this is a funny question. Has anyone ever been out of work? Oh, silent. That's right. Because I come in this office, there's always something to do. Always.
Yeah, we're not lacking for things to do, are we? No.
Well, so if you were to sit for a hot second and evaluate your own firm right now and say, how much billable work is sitting in the pipeline right now? Which if you use quoting tool, you can probably just take a look at that number. And or if you're using Carbon, they have the budget. So you can kind of see, this is, if I do this work, I will make $50,000. So if I sit here and I go, all right, well, I got to do all this admin work and chase people, blah, 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 that 50 grand, just that time value of money starts to decrease real quick. And so I just look at it that if I'm not being productive, and to me, productive is money and profits and billable. Productivity to me is not doing administrative work. That is counterproductive for sure.
No, and we've just come to accept it though. That's the problem, right? We've just come to accept it. We don't look at that elephant in the room.
It's there. And really at the end of the day, that's where you're not investing in your business. It's costing you money. That's why people are, how much does it cost? It's like, well, what's your life worth? Like really, if you were to sit back and say, oh, you know what? My life is my health and my life is worth X. Well, you're stripping yourself of that quality.
And Andrew, you're going to probably take those 6 admin people and have them do other things, right?
Well, that's exactly it. It's like, so I think I'm going to throw a wrench in the works here, because I don't think we increased our profitability. If I was to look at my actual margins, did my margins change? No, but I redeployed those resources. I reinvested in the organization. So my actual, like my margins probably didn't change, but where I was able to provide more training, because this is one of the big things that we've realized, like we're also now like in this, you know, what are they calling it, where everyone's leaving? The Great Resignation, right?
The Great Resignation. We're in the Great Resignation. Yeah.
And finding and hiring talent is getting harder and harder.
Big deal.
Harder. So where do we redeploy that energy? Training, development. And so we didn't necessarily increase our profit lines for the near future, but we invested into the value of.
So I'm predicting that if we were to talk next year, Andrew, those admin people that are currently overhead right now, they'll be moving into more profit for you. And I think you'll see a shift. So we'll keep in touch on that one. But the good news is
I've got some interesting stories too, because
you're retaining your good, you're retaining your good staff. So this is the one slide on Lisio, just one slide. And we just wanted to make sure that everybody understood like how easy it is. And I think the cool thing is that people are, if you look at this login here, you can actually log in with your face. So it's down on the bottom, it's just hidden there, but you can log in with your face, which is really cool, or with Google ID or Google or Microsoft Office. So, and everything's all in one place. And we talked about the scanner. So that's something that I think, you know, it's so easy for your clients, but it's also really, really good for your staff. We have we want to just go quickly through this. But the reason email is such a problem is that breaches start with a phishing email and people click on a link. And if they think that it's a real link and then they go to log in, what happens is the scammers have your logins, right? And so my own mother was caught up in a scam last Christmas where she literally was going to transfer $30,000 to a scammer because she thought that they had given her this $30,000. It's called the refund scam. You can Google it. And you should be aware of that one but it started with an email saying that she had been charged for a computer maintenance program. And if she wanted to get her, to reverse the charges, she should just call them, and she did. So this is what I'm saying. The emails are just too scary anymore. And then you're just not getting that response with email, right? Dawn, you called it, the definition of insanity, right? Because email with a link to your portal, it doesn't work.
No, it's not cool anymore. It's just not cool anymore. And I just find that, having everything in that one place, having that security, the fact that they can literally live on their phone, which is where they're living anyway. And for me, it's like, and like Dave said, Dave made a great comment. It's, you know what? I can choose whether or not I respond. They don't get my cell phone number, but I like that, like Dave said, sending an email at 10 o'clock at night or whatever. It's just, I just want to live in my app, and I don't want to have to worry about where I am.
Yeah.
I mean, we've just got to get it to people.
And it's just waiting there in your list. When you log it in the morning, you go, and you probably don't use it on the app unless you're moving around in the community, right?
Yeah.
But you're using it on your browser. Yeah. So let's talk quickly about next steps. So I think I definitely want everybody to go out. If you're not already following Andrew, Dave, and Dawn on social, do that. Like, just follow them on social. Lindsay obviously wants you to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. And then I think, does this feel like the right sort of next steps, you guys, for what people should be thinking about?
Well, I think I'm sorry if I'm monopolizing. It's not my fault. It's just
we knew that was going to happen. So
yeah,
it's okay.
I don't have a problem speaking.
It's really fine.
That's not
yeah.
I just think, I love the first line, set an intention for your firm. Because here's the deal. You have the right, you have the ability, you have the right, you have the tools that it takes to make a change for yourself. And really, it is a decision, and it's an investment in your business. It's an investment in your clients. And really, it's a safety zone that is absolutely critical for you to move forward in the future, because the hacks are only going to get worse. Yeah. So,
that stress isn't going away, right? The stress of that disorganization isn't going away either. Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
The only one suggestion
Go ahead,
I might
Andrew.
have for that back slide
is
I think you just got to flip-flop the order of delighting staff first and then delighting customers.
Oh, there you go. Delight staff first. Yeah. And we're okay on that. We're absolutely all right on that. I think that's a great point, because if you don't have, Brad Smith used to say, staff first, because without the staff, you don't have the company.
Yeah.
Then the customers, then the shareholders. That's what Brad used to say. When, we all love Brad, don't we?
You absolutely love that guy.
Yeah, we love Brad. So then the last thing I wanted to say is, Lindsay, do you want to just quickly come off mute and tell them about this cool thing that we're doing now?
Yeah, so we just recently, in the month of November, started to partner with B1G1. So that means anyone that has a demo with Liscio, we will donate 10 meals to impoverished children. And then every new firm that signs up, we provide 30 days of education for children in need. So we're super excited. It is also the time of year to be giving.
Yeah.
So if you would like to give back, I will put our link to the Give Back page in chat. You can book a demo through that page, and you can also
super simple.
Read a little bit more about our giving story.
Yep, it's super simple. And we wanted to do that because Chris is really all about giving back. He's not having Liscio to make money. He wants to have Liscio to change the world. And those are different things. So
B1G1 is an amazing organization.
They're wonderful.
Surprisingly not as popular in North America as we've seen in Australia and the UK.
Yeah.
And I love that you guys are doing this. And I think more accountants need to know about B1.
Yeah. And you can investigate B1G1, and basically you agree to give, you create a giving story, and you agree to give a small amount for everything that your firm does, and everybody wins. It's really wonderful. Well, I can't believe it. We're out of time, guys. In fact, we've gone like 2 minutes over, but I want to thank all of you so much. This was so fun. I don't know. Did you guys have fun? It was.
I got to be on a panel with Dawn and Dave. Of course I had fun.
No, it was
amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we'll send out the recording.
And Lindsay too, because Lindsay's hilarious as well.
Lindsay's hilarious. Yeah. So we'll send out the recording to everybody. But in the meantime, I want everybody to have a wonderful, wonderful day. And thank you so much for your time, guys. And I think that's it. Any last words?
Just love everybody. Thanks I was so fun. Dave and Andrew, you guys are awesome as always.
Awesome.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.